Hello and welcome to the 2023 online Ekphrastic celebration. Tonight, I am your host. My name is Maggie Stevens. I will also be seeing this event, and I'm here in order to facilitate conversations between poets and artists about Ekphrastic poetry. I will start with a introduction from Nanaimo Arts Council President, Stephen Dennis, who unfortunately couldn't be here tonight. And that is as follows. Good evening, everyone. From Stephen Dennis, President of the Nanaimo Arts Council, it's my privilege to welcome you all to the second annual Ekphrastic Celebration Awards Ceremony. This event was the brainchild of Kamal Parmar, Poet Laureate for the City of Nanaimo, past board member of the Arts Council, and judge for this competition. Thank you, Kamal, for bringing poets and visual artists together in what has become a NAC signature program. We begin this ceremony with thanks by acknowledging with gratitude and respect that we gather on the traditional and unceded territory of the Coast Salish people, specifically the lands of the Nanaimo First Nation, as well as appreciation to our sponsors and funders, Vancouver Island University Internship Program, the City of Nanaimo, and the province of British Columbia. I am Maggie Stevens. I joined the Arts Council as a VIU intern to coordinate the Ekphrastic celebration. This summer, I'm also a part of the Nanaimo Arts Council research team, where we'll be reviewing arts and culture in Nanaimo. I also consider myself a writer and editor. I host an open mic downtown Nanaimo, and I will be emceeing this celebration tonight, as I've already stated. But it is my absolute pleasure to be hosting and coordinating this event for you all this year. It has been a real joy. Next, I will be introducing our judges. Carla Stein's artwork and poetry have been published in anthologies and literary magazines, including Sustenance, Ascent Aspirations, Friday's Poems, an anthology of Nanaimo poetry, Island Arts Magazine, Island Women, Stone Coast Review, and Sadgo Review. She has released 2 poetry chapbooks, Sideways Glances of an Everyday Sailor and Shrieking from the Shore. Carla is the current artistic director of the Wordstorm Society of the Arts and a co-founder of 15 Minutes of Infamy, a wordcraft performance venue based in Nanaimo, Canada. And then, of course, we have Nanaimo Poet Laureate Kamal Parmar, who has been passionately involved in writing for the last 20 years. Her main objective is to assist the Federation in providing incentives to both emerging as well as professional writers in order to showcase their talent and hone their skills so as to raise their regional and national profile. Kamal is an associate member of the League of Canadian Poets, a member of the Writers' Union of Canada, the Canadian Authors Association, as well as Haiku Canada. She is the 2021 to 2023 Poet Laureate for the City of Nanaimo. So now that we have our introductions out of the way, I would like to first pass the torch to our first of 2 honorable mentions this year. The first honorable mention is held by poet Journey Meyerhoff for their poem, Love in Color. It is an ekphrastic poem based on the visual work by Sonia Billard titled Imaginarium. So I will be just sharing the work to the page. And Journey, as soon as you're ready, you're welcome to share your poem as well as your thoughts.
Thank you, Maggie. I'll just first say I'm very honored to be included in this celebration as an honorable mention. And I will read my poem, Love in Color. Love in color, washing over soft bodies, fully realized. Haikus are so short. That's a thought that I just had. That doesn't take much breath to recite one. but I'll speak to my inspiration. I was very drawn to Sonia's piece. I couldn't exactly figure why at first. I just kind of kept returning to it when I was trying to select an artwork to write my poem in response to. I think, there's something about the colors. And I think something I really noticed is there's this sort of like movement and like almost transience to the piece. I think especially in some of the outer edges of these like natural forms, like there's some little wisps and sort of specks and like floating sort of pieces in sort of the air around some of these natural forms. And so this sort of movement transience kind of felt akin to the process of pollination, or like plant reproduction. And so that's kind of what my inspiration for the haiku was. I was trying to figure out how to explain this. I think maybe if I go through line by line quickly and kind of explain. So I think the first line, love and color, I think speaks to a sort of like biological love, sort of a love that's via pollination, sort of a promise to a future generation of plant life. It's kind of the only way to guarantee the safety of this lineage of plants. And then washing over soft bodies as referring to the unpollinated plants, washing over referring to the sort of seeds or I'm not I'm not a botanist. I don't actually know all the terminology, but sort of washing over soft bodies as the pollination process. And the last line, fully realized, allow like I think finally like this moment of clarity where these natural kind of beings are fully realized in themselves as being able to bring forth new life. So that is my inspiration for my poem Love and Color. A really, really beautiful piece of work by Sonia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Journey. And Sonia, you're welcome to respond or infer or make any kind of comments that you have about your process with the work, or even your response to Journey's work. So Sonia?
First of all, I'd love to thank you, Journey, for choosing my piece. I was really quite thrilled to hear about that. And you've really got the feeling that I was wanting to express. This was it was instigated by a challenge to simply paint a bouquet of flowers from my imagination, a fictitious bouquet of flowers. And I wanted action, I wanted movement, which you noticed. And it's just, I really do love color. And so I wanted it to be a joyful experience. And the same thing with the pollination, the little bits and pieces that are flying around were what I've seen, that you see in the garden when the light hits just right. It's active all around, there's life all around. And the colors I wanted to be intense as well as bright, to reach out and have an effect really more on the inside of the person, not just visually, because the whole purpose of it is to uplift and, well, like you said, renewed life. I love that. I really love your interpretation. I used intense colors. It's acrylic on paper, and it's quite a small piece. It's 9 by 12, 9 across and 12 inches high. And it's a combination of ink and acrylic. And I did it quickly with joyful abandon, if you want to use that term. It felt really good. I've given it, it's a gifted piece to somebody that has had some inner turmoil and has had difficulties, and she really responded well to it too. So I used pure color, and my garden's in the back. It's an inspiration. I love flowers, plants, nature. How can you live on Vancouver Island without loving nature? So thank you for your interpretation. I hope to hear your haiku poem again. I do write amateur haiku. You know, I communicate with two cousins in another province with haikus, so I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much, Sonia. Carla or Kamal, was there an order in particular that you'd like to take it for your own comments as judges?
Would you like to say something, Carla?
Go ahead, Kamal.
Okay, well, I like to comment on the painting. I think, Sonia, you've done a wonderful job. The colors are pure, bright, free-flowing, and they seem to be pulsating with life, literally. And a very eye-catching piece of work, which just apt to, like ushering in spring, the lightness of the flowers and the painting it's just really good, wonderful. With very expert sort of strokes, you've given that effect. As far as the haiku is concerned, I think the objective description of nature is suggestive of one of the seasons. It evokes a definite emotional response, what we call the aha moment. And it goes to prove that just a few well-chosen words, I'll say 3 lines, can say more effectively than pages full. So I think a great job, Journey, and a great job, Sonia.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And I have to concur with much of what Kamal has said. Sonia, when you said that you created this piece with joyful abandon, it certainly comes across in that way. It's free, the movement is clear, the sense of there being things growing, and the biology of, we're not sure what, but there's definitely a sense of biology going on in this piece. Yeah, it's quite enjoyable to look at. Journey, your haiku, I think picks up in many ways the idea of love as an action. Often we think of love as a noun. I love the way that your poem described love as an action, and then portrayed it against the soft bodies in your poem as an object. So you have this tension happening and this action happening within the haiku, very much in keeping with what the sense of haiku is about. So thank you for a lovely poem.
Thank you, Carla.
All right. That's wonderful. We're off to a great start, everybody. I couldn't have asked for a better group of poets and artists. But looking at the participant list, I can see that unfortunately, Jonathan Muskaluk couldn't make it. So in that case, I will be reading Jonathan's poem. And then unfortunately, I can't speak to Jonathan's inspiration. So once I've finished reading it, we'll move right on to Linda talking about her own experience with creating the painting that will be up on the screen in just a second here. All right, so the title of Linda's piece is Relax and Dream. The title of Jonathan's poem is The Solstice Tides. The solstice tides, the brevity of our footprints. All right, Linda?
I guess I have to unmute here. Hi. Yes, I was very surprised that I won as well. I agree with Sonia. It's a privilege to have your painting picked. This was a commission painting that I did, and it was the first time I'd ever done sea foam and waves in the sense. So it was a lot of fun. Really, there's not much. I lived in Hawaii for 20 years, so I know beaches and such, but it was a lot of fun to paint, and then find that the person I painted it for loved it. So it was a joy there, and the fact that it was picked by Kamal and Carla. I appreciate that very much. There isn't really a lot of background in it other than just a place to go and enjoy. So, and the brevity of the footprints, I almost put footprints in the sand, but they're not as easy as they sound. So I attempted a little footprint, but I took it out because I have to have more practice. But it was very, that's exactly basically what I would think is somebody running through the sand. So thank you, Jonathan. If you get this on YouTube, thank you very much.
Splendid. And do we have any comments from Carla and Kamal?
Yeah, go ahead, Carla, this time.
Yeah, Linda, you captured, speaking of Hawaii, that's what it made me think of, is looking at your picture of the beaches in Hawaii and the way the waves come in and suck out again and come in, and these big rolling kinds of waves that you see. So it's very, very lovely. And if the poet is listening on YouTube, I really appreciated that you took what tends to be a recurring theme of tides coming in and out, but you made it your own. And the idea of contrasting the water's power against human fragility was quite beautiful in your poem. So thank you very much for that.
Should I go ahead? Okay. Well, I agree very much with what Carla has said, but just adding on, I like the title of the painting, Relax and Dream. And then it literally, if you look at the painting, you know, it's really relaxing and soothing. And it goes a long way making the audience reflect on the passive yet gentle motion of nature. One can literally feel the lapping of the sea waves on the sandy beach. You know, to me, it's a very vivid picture of tranquility. As regards the lovely haiku, it sets one thinking in how in just 3 lines, the poet has conveyed the fact that everything is in motion. The last 2 lines reflect on the fragility of life and the passage of time, the spaciousness. They are enough to give the reader, you know, a thought-provoking moment and sets one thinking about the bigger picture that lies ahead. Yeah, it's really fantastic. And thank you to both of you.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you, Carmel.
And thank you, Linda. And thank you, Jonathan. And I hope you're watching this on YouTube on some later date and getting to hear all of the lovely things that everyone has to say about what your work has inspired. Now, unfortunately, we have 2 poets in a row who are in absentia. But fortunately, M. Von Yu, who captured 3rd place at this year's Ekphrastic celebration, has sent along both their poem, the text of their poem, obviously, as well as a statement on their inspiration for the poem. So I will be reading their poem, and then I will also be reading the statement that they sent along with it. So if you will just bear with me here. Of course, this is Susie Gilmore's work titled Pebbles, and the title of M's poem is Water Song. There is a poem in the river, a round dark blue stone, praying to be held again. And then M's comments are as follows here. The ethereal, ephemeral colors, textures, motion, and framing of Susie Gilmore's Pebbles inspired me to think of many things. I thought of a river and what rivers carry. I thought of molecular choreography and the view from a microscope. I thought about God using a microscope to look at Earth. And I thought about earth-formed creatures growing eyes, so we might look at a painting and think of a river and write a poem. My poem is a love poem and a grief poem. It's about surrendering to this act of living, of saying yes despite the promise of death. It's about recognizing intimacy is always a blindfolded bargain. It's about discovering so much beauty in sorrow that you are compelled to lick up your own tears as if they are a sacrament. Pebbles are shaped by absence, their bodies defined by what they have lost, what has broken off of them. They will be ground down to nothing over millions of years, and yet they keep arriving in the water. Are these the same pebbles? Are we the same people? After we have disappeared into our loss and reemerged downstream? We offer up our body to this life, and we will be broken by it. But we did touch. Our cells formed into something more and fell apart. After the vast expanse of darkness and before the eternal display of silence, for just an instant, it happened. I have heard a river stone sing. It whispered a prayer that could be translated as, please, please again. And because this was not human language, but the tough to pin down dialect of geologic poetry, this simultaneously meant something like, thank you, for with you I have tasted heaven, and I will never forget. Even when I can't remember my name in 11,000 years, I will still be carved by yours. And those are the words of poet M. Von Yu on their poem, Water Song, inspired by Susie Gilmore's work of art titled Pebbles. And I will now pass it over to Susie for her thoughts.
Yeah, I'm actually blown away by that, and I'm so sorry that I couldn't get to meet Em after hearing everything she said about my piece. She totally got what I was thinking when I was painting it. The reason that I chose pebbles was because I grew up in Scotland, Edinburgh, and my mum used to force us to go out every weekend hiking, and we used to splosh about in the rivers. And I was just fascinated by the water flowing over pebbles and how wonderful they looked when they were wet. Coming into over here and living on Gabriel Island, where I am now, I'm just surrounded by nature. So everywhere I go, there's water or trees. And especially in the spring, I get really excited because the shoots are coming up and they have this bright green, which has inspired me for the colors. And also the canvas was given to me by my stepson, and so that made me think of pebbles because it was a round canvas, which I'd never done before. What else? I can't believe that I love the title of the poem, and I was really hoping that we get to meet at some point. So thank you so much for your beautiful words. They really moved me. I didn't think about death or whatever, but I do sometimes think in my style of painting that I do get like amoeba type shapes appearing and cells. And when she talked about the microscope, it does make me think of that as well, like the beginning of something, not the end. I don't know what else to say. I'm just blown away. And thank you so much for choosing me in third place. I'm really honored.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Susie. And just a quick reminder to everyone participating that M uses they, them pronouns. I will then pass it over to Kamal for I believe it's your turn to go first with the judges.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you to the artist as well as the poet for such wonderful, pieces of creative art. I like the pebbles. Really, the painting is very eye-catching, and I like the way the artist goes into Susie, that you go into such minor details, and you have a very acute sense of observation and preciseness. And also, I like the way, from after having heard about your childhood memories, how you love the water and the pebbles, and you're kind of reliving it in this form. which is really poignant and touching. And the muted colors are, gray, white, and soft green. They're really impressive to me in that they reflect the play of light and shade, giving it a 3D effect. I think it's
Thank
great
you.
work. Yeah. So as regard the Ekphrastic, the water song, it's again a very thought-provoking and poignant haiku. I find there's a symbiotic relationship between poetry and nature, and is beautifully brought out. The flow of the words and the dark blue stone praying to be held again stop the reader in his or her tracks, because there's a message in this haiku of stillness, asking the reader to explore the hidden beauty of nature and to commune with it. So I think it's excellent. Thank you.
I guess it's my turn. So thank you, Susie, for a lovely explanation of what inspired you to do this painting. And isn't it fun working on a round canvas? I've
Yes.
done it a few times myself, but it's so much fun, and it makes you think in such different ways. I love the way that you took the circumference of the canvas itself and made the rest of the painting play with it. And it all works marvelously together. Thank you so much for that. The poem, unfortunately, our poet is not here, but if she is listening in at some point in time, she seemed to pick up on a lot of the use of the natural images that you put into your painting, Susie. Took that in a lot of different directions in the sense of what her inspiration description is about, and took that and turned it into a way to evoke some very strong emotional responses, I think, in a lot of the folks who are listening. So very well done, and thank you for your contribution.
And I will add on the poem's behalf here at the bottom of their note, they said, "Thank you to the NAC, Susie Gilmore, and this year's judges. I am filled with gratitude." So with that, we will move on to our second place poem titled Sand and Sea, written by Robert Bowerman. We will just be beginning with Robert's first poem, Sand and Sea, about Relax and Dream by Linda Lowry. We'll be looking at that work of art once again. And then we'll have the usual back and forth that we've sort of developed up until this point before we move on to Robert's second poem that placed. And Robert, whenever you're ready.
Okay, thanks to the Nanaimo Arts Council for putting this on, and to all the artists who and poets who participated, and to Carla and Kamal, I should say. And this poem reminded me of camping on Long Beach, back when you could still do that. Now you can't, but you could in the day. And the thing about Long Beach is it's very long. So in the morning after we got up, I ran along the beach, splashing through the water, leaving footprints. But by the time I came back, they were gone. So that's sort of what the poem is about, which maybe echoes what another poet here said. So here's the haiku. Sea and sand seem to stretch forever. Our footprints wash away too soon.
Thank you very much, Robert. Linda, if you would please, is there anything you had to add in regards to Robert's poem? I know you've already spoken once already on your work.
No, yes, I appreciate the fact that he associates it with Long Beach as well, because it sounds like I could just picture him running along and then checking back behind him and seeing the footprints gone. It's a beautiful thing to do, is to run along a beach. I sort of looked at it like the sand and the sea part, and it was putting the two together. They like flow, as in life and love and beauty. It all sort of goes together. So I thought that was kind of very appropriate for how he wrote the poem. So thank you, Robert. I appreciate you very much for picking my painting, and your poem is beautiful. I love haiku. I've written some myself, so I know what it's like. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Linda. Carla, remarks, please, if you happen to have any.
Of course I have them. That's what judges do. Yeah, Robert, thank you for a lovely poem. The concise detail was really what led me to pick your poem in this category. And the juxtaposition of permanence in the way that you describe the beach and the water as ongoing and always having that sense of being there against these footprints that they're there and then they're gone, and then they're there and then they're gone. And that feeling of coming and going against this sense of longevity that that just lasts forever and ever. So thank you for a very, very beautiful poem. And Linda, I think I've already commented on your lovely painting, but I think Robert again really picked up on what you've put here, and you should feel very good about the fact that you had more than one poet choose your work. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
I must go next. Linda, lovely painting again, relaxing and dreaming. You literally, the soothing colors, tranquility, everything, everything that's there, all the adjectives really go with this lovely painting. And a wonderful haiku, very thought-provoking, Robert. I mean, a great job. I think you explored the timelessness of nature as compared with the frailty of life, that fades away, leaving memories behind in a very beautiful way. And it's very thought-provoking, as I said, and it's more of an existential haiku in nature, which is a great job. Thank you, Robert, and thank you, Linda. Well done.
Thank you to our poet and artist and judges, of course. But Robert, we're not done with you yet, because wonderfully, you've provided us with two lovely poems this year, and they both placed. So our first place poem in this year's Ekphrastic celebration 2023 is, of course, Robert Bowerman's Immortal Fuji Looms. I will be placing that up here for everybody to see this lovely work. Robert, if you would please share your poem and your thoughts whenever you're ready.
Yeah, thanks, Maggie. This poem was more difficult to write than the first one, which actually went very quickly. And in fact, for my second poem, I originally chose another one. But I looked at this more carefully and noticed that Mount Fuji was actually in the picture. Initially, I was sort of looking at the cherry blossoms. And then when I saw the two together and thought about it, it all sort of came together. I have been to Japan. I have seen Mount Fuji, but I wasn't there during cherry blossom seasons. But of course, I've seen cherry blossoms here on the island. So that's how I got into the poem. So I'll just read it. Immortal Fuji looms, excuse me, I'll try to start from the beginning. Immortal Fuji looms, like falling cherry blossoms, our spring soon passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Robert, again, and congratulations on capturing first prize. Kelly, I would love to hear your thoughts.
Hello, thank you to the Arts Council, and thank you for choosing my painting, Robert. What's more haiku than Mount Fuji and cherries? Actually, I think they're Japanese plums, but anyway, sorry, I'm not very good at speaking. That's very spring. It's a computer drawing painting I start in the basic computer painting program that's older than the dinosaurs. And then I take it to Corel other programs for more finer details. I don't really know what to say. Thank you. I'm better at expressing on canvas than with my mouth.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Kelly. Now I believe it's Kamal's turn to go first for judges' comments.
Great, thank you. So first of all, Kelly, well done for the lovely painting. It's absolutely, I find it breathtaking with the soft, muted colors. You know, I mean, they just spring to life. And they also reflect the serenity and the awe-inspiring beauty of nature. We often fail to see and admire the hidden beauty that's lying all around us. And also great work, Robert, again. The three lines, I feel they are miraculous in its power to articulate the profundity of the simplest movement in bringing us to a heightened awareness of our lives. You know, like the haiku has a Japanese flavor and a seasonal reference, that is spring, and a kigo, which is referring to the cherry blossoms. It reflects on the passage of time and which serves as the impetus to I would say, meditation, and as a key to unlocking the wonder that is right in front of us. So reading a haiku, one experiences a fleeting moment that takes one out of oneself, a moment that hints at a stillness that lies beneath the surface of things. So great work, and congratulations to both of you.
Carla, I won't ask if you do. You definitely have some comments.
Yeah, Kelly, thank you for explaining your process around creating this work. I really appreciate the way that there's this contrast between the background and the foreground. And I think Robert's poem picks that up really, really in a lovely way, in that Fuji is, in this painting, it's not really obvious when you first look at it. And his statement that Mount Fuji immortally looms, it looms in our consciousness, it looms in the background of the painting. It's there, but it's not really there. And echoing what Kamal said about this sense of using nature in haiku, which is so important, and the sense of seasonality. And cherry blossoms, or plum blossoms, as you say, plum blossoms are what you intended in this painting. Both of them often used in a way to express the season of spring. So it all works really, really beautifully together. And thank you. This could actually, very easily turn into a haiga. If you had both written that together, it could have been a collaborative haiga. You might even want to do that since you work digitally. A haiga is a painting where the haiku is embedded as part of the work. And I could easily see that as in this painting becoming a haiga. It's very lovely. Thank you very much. And thank you, Robert, for a beautiful poem.
Thanks. I could easily incorporate wording on my work. I can do magic. Thank you.
All right, wonderful. So that concludes the sort of conversational aspect of the ceremony. Next, we're going to have readings from both of our judges from their own collections of poetry. They, I believe, have not been told that they have to read haiku, if I'm not mistaken, is what I was informed by Stephen. So be prepared for poems longer than 3 lines in that case. Now, between Carla and Kamal, there wasn't sort of an agreed upon order. Was there one of you that would prefer to go first, or another that would prefer to go second?
Anyone?
Kamal,
Carla, alphabetical order. Because,
Alphabetical order.
yeah, yes.
Carla it is.
Okay, you've one-upped me, Kamal. So I'm not going to read a haiku, but I sort of am going to read a haiku, in that this is a renge. And a renge is a group of haiku that speak to each other. Oftentimes they're written collaboratively. There are 6 verses. Each verse is its own haiku. However, the difference between a renku, which is a collaborative poem written in haiku as well, where each poet adds on and it becomes like a narrative story that can go in any sort of direction depending on how the poets want it to go. And what is decided upon as the beginning of the first poem, and where it ends up, who knows, with a renku. With a renge, the theme stays the same throughout the 6 verses. And so this is sort of a ekphrastic renge in that it is based on a photograph that I saw last year of a phenomena that happens way up high in the mountains called a Brocken specter. And what that is when people see their reflection in fog and often mistake it as being another person being there, but it's actually not anybody. It's kind of a ghost. This was published in Sci-Fi Coup Review, which is a publication out of Texas last year, and it's a renge titled Brocken Specters. Metal birds skrill pre-recorded melodies. The day turns. Eyes awake to Yinmin blue horizons. 5-toed feet press terraformed soil. A cold star watches. Low clouds hang above machine-groomed hills. Solarized leaves pump oxygen in predictable doses. Eco-modernist reflections mirror plutocratic souls. And I will hand it over to you, Kamal.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mukala. Great. Well, mine is not a haiku, it's just a simple poem. I just penned it 2 days before. So I was sitting outside in the garden and, I love the time, what should I say, it's not dusk, the twilight, it's neither day nor night. So the twilight hour, neither day nor night, neither light or dark. The hour weaving magic over every leaf, flower, and animal. I tiptoe quietly across a grassy patch and sit on a swing, hanging from the old oak tree. The air laced with lavender rocks me to and fro. An invisible rush of cool breeze fills the air with pink frilly petals of geraniums and dandelion fluff floating like confetti. There's a strange stillness, the one that encaptures a hush, as if the trees are asking us to slow down and watch the dramatic turn of day into night. It seems that the world has stopped turning. The day is done, and it is time for vespers, as the evening mist gently rolls in, bathing the valley in shades of mystic mauves. The sun has long gone. A family of starlings slices through the darkening sky. Fly homeward. A wing flutter of a sparrow flying to its feathery nest, nestled among the leafy arbutus, shatters the silence. The world seems to have stopped turning. All is cloaked in silence. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Kamal. So, with our judges having regaled us with why it is exactly they've been asked to judge the Ekphrastic celebration, we've come to our final remarks. So I can say on my behalf that it has been such an honor to facilitate not just this event that we are sitting at currently, but also the celebration as a whole. Witnessing the artists contributing and the poets contributing in kind has been one of the most beautiful experiences I have experienced to this day as not just a student, but also a fellow artist, poet, and member of the Arts Council, as we all are. I have to say thank you to the judges. I don't just have to say it, I mean it emphatically. Thank you to the judges. I would also like to thank each and every artist and every single poet who contributed this year, especially those who did not get picked. Please come and try again next year. But thank you so, so much again to everybody. I will now read Stephen's final remarks that he has shared with me to share with you all. And then if you like, we could all unmute our microphones and do a little round of applause. I know they're a little hard to do over Zoom, but it doesn't really feel done until we do that. So I will be reading these these remarks from Stephen. Thank you to the poets and artists who participated in the Ekphrastic celebration, to the judges for elucidating us all on the Ekphrasis art form, and to our MC, Maggie Stevens. I look forward to seeing you all in person at the first Ekphrastic live show on July 25th at 7 p.m. at the Lighthouse Bistro on the waterfront in Nanaimo. Good night, everyone. Very sweet. Thank you all again.
Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you.
You did a great
Thank you
job.
very
Thank you,
much.
Maggie.
Congratulations
Thank you
on
very much.
all
Thank
our
you.
co-artists.
Oh, yes.
Congratulations to
Wonderful.
all, everyone. Thank
Mhm.
you.
Thank
Look
you,
forward to
Carla.
seeing
Thank
you
Carla.
all.
Yes. See you
And-
very soon, 2 weeks from today.
Good night,
Yay.
everybody.
Good night, everyone.